Hi, good evening. This is Finance Committee, April 13th, 2016. I do have to start off by saying this has been 2 years in the making. As you can see, everybody in front of you has a tablet, and everything that we're going to discuss tonight is on the tablet in front of all of us. Eventually, the IT group is working on hooking us up to the projector so it will project what we're discussing, and that can be put on TV. But that'll probably not be until the next meeting we have down here, which won't be till April 27th. So bear with us tonight, and we'll get through it. It'll take time, and hopefully by the time we're all old and gray like some of us, we'll learn how to do this. All right, minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Everybody have them up on their tablet? This is like school. Any discussion, all in favor? All right, next item, we're gonna do this, first. Budgets come first, and the process that the Finance Committee goes through on an annual basis is consistent from year to year. I just wanna go through it. Typically in December, January, when the governor comes out with his first budget, the subcommittee, budget subcommittee of the Finance Committee sits down with the finance director and our financial analyst, and we go through the governor's budget. We propose what we think we should do for a budget based on his numbers and history, if you will, and how we've done this in the past. We come up with a number, an increase or not. We write a letter to every department head recommending that increase. This year was 2.5% across the board. Last year was 2.5% for salaries, 0% for expenses. So we feel we've been doing pretty well, and we are very conservative here. And so far, I think we've done pretty well going forward. So once we do that, we have a time or a date when the department heads have to submit their budget. After reviewing it with the subcommittee chairman, the subcommittee, their subcommittee, and it's put up on here as well, so we all have that information. We used to have books. This meeting will be to accept those budgets. There are budgets that are over the recommended 2.5%, and we have some members of those departments here tonight to discuss why they're over 2.5%, and we obviously are going to ask some questions and find out what's going on. But we will accept budgets tonight. In May, at our May meeting, after we review all these budgets and figure out what the state's going to do, because they will come out with something in early May typically, we will finalize a budget before town meeting and present that at town meeting. So the numbers tonight may vary a little bit between now and town meeting, but significantly not. Okay, so I really wouldn't be concerned going forward, but the budget we have now is about $94 million without all of the extras. And when you add all that in, it's about $102 million. So we're right up there with the major corporations. All right, everybody understand? Okay. First budget we're going to talk about is the district. Now, if everybody goes to their tablet and they go to Department 300, 351, 352.
How do we do that?
You can bring that up. Go back here. See what I mean? We have to, a little bit of help.
A lot of help.
A lot of help. Budgets.
We know where they're going?
300, 351,
300, 351, 352.
It's one file.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Your
And
finance
it's-
director?
Under FY 17.
Oh, right down here.
All right. So,
I don't know.
on the bottom tabs,
I'm
there's
having
3
trouble
tabs on the
myself
bottom.
with
This is an Excel.
300,
spreadsheet.
350.
Tabs on the bottom.
How do you make it bigger?
That's why, I don't know why it's not opening on yours.
Mine's over, I can't get it, I got it sideways.
You got it sideways?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Click the box in the right-hand corner.
You're looking at the actual budget or the
Yeah.
summary budget?
Actual budget. No, the summary budget, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
the summary, I thought I fixed that.
But I got it signed.
All right, well, basically, I have it written, so.
It's an experiment, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
there you go.
It's a
We'll be fine.
learning curve for us. so
We'll get there.
Bear with us.
We're educators.
I have the summary budget for the district.
We'll have late dinner snacks later.
We get it.
All right, let's see if we can keep a little bit here. It's hard, I know. I don't know why you have it sideways. I don't.
That's Chuck does, you don't?
No, because I know I put it up straight up.
Did you click the 300 tab?
Sideways.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Never mind. All right. The district submitted a budget with an increase of 3.5%. Now, let us explain, being the subcommittee chairman of that, of the school, we do things a little bit differently with the school. We do salaries and expenses, and which needs to come in below our recommendation of 2.5%. And then above and beyond that, we talk about special education. And in this case, this year, English language learners. So with all of that put together and a couple of initiatives that we were talked into, that they need to do, we came up with 3.5% total increase, which is a budget of $44,091,000. We have the school committee here if there are questions. I can go into detail if we want.
Someone turn the air conditioning off? Jeez, it's cold.
It's cold.
It's freezing. My
Freezing in here.
Freezing. Someone
my
turn.
legs are.
I thought that was a tactic.
Then get up and walk around and sit in the front row.
The AC's
No, Paul said he was gonna turn down the air conditioning because he
He
expected
said,
a
why
lot
have I
of
got
people.
my coat on?
Turned it
All
down.
right, good call.
Put your parker on, Jack.
Bob, or Mike, you guys want to just go over a little bit about?
No, I'm trying to get another document open.
Yeah, it might be an opportunity to introduce Kevin as well. Want us to
Submitted
use these
budgets.
mics?
I thought, why not?
Yes. Have we got numbers 300, 300? Mark just got it. So much easier.
So Mark,
Screw with meeting rooms before.
51.
Everywhere you go, somebody's always screwing with the before meeting starts.
So as educators, we have full appreciation for and are very patient with your new technology.
351.
This is what we do. So you have a chance what it feels like now to be a teacher in a classroom,
Gonna
Mark.
be old by the time I get it working.
I'm just impressed out though that you're on it.
It's on.
It's fantastic.
Oh, there it is.
Don't push your luck
Guys,
now.
I just received it as a.
You get an A for effort.
So you can reopen it.
Did you?
Yes, it's awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to just take a minute just to introduce formally now, Dr. Kevin McIntyre will be succeeding me as superintendent of schools effective in July, but Kevin's been very instrumental in developing the last 3 budgets with me since his appointment as assistant superintendent. So glad to have Kevin on board, and tonight will be kind of a first run for him, kind of explaining some of the forward initiatives for fiscal 17. Of course, you know Kathy and our chairman, Mike Walsh, so thank you for having us this evening, and we're happy to answer questions you may have, unless you want us to just talk generally about the budget, or how do you want to proceed?
I don't know, typically, the first time the superintendent gets up here, he gets stuff thrown at him, so.
Right, so Kevin.
Fire away.
Why don't we proceed with that?
Kathy, let's move down one chair.
Okay, I'm all for that.
I would just do a
Jackson's
summary
first
of how we got where we got, okay?
Sure.
And what we go through to get there. I mean, I can start off, but I'd rather.
Let me just explain the process, just for the
Yeah, that'd be
benefit of
good.
everybody, of how we build the budget. And then I can have Kathy and then Kevin explain some of the details that are on the presentation. We start the budget process, we get about 1 month of respite in the month of September after the budget. And then in October, we begin to build it from the ground up. We, at that point, will ask all of our, like you would do with department heads, we ask all of our principals, department heads of their schools, to meet and develop their local school-based budgets. So that information is all then brought forward to what we like to call budget defense meetings. So in the month of December, we also look at retirements and find out who may be leaving at the end of the school year and so forth. Our budget defense meetings are typically the month of December, where the central office team, which would include the superintendent, assistant superintendent for business and human resources, assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and assessment, technology director moving forward, facilities manager, special education director, English Language Learner Program Director. That's our kind of our core oversight for district initiatives. That team together reviews each of the presentations from the building with the principal, and we go through and create a list of, as part of this defense, building it from the ground up. We don't assume last year's budget plus some percentage increase. In fact, in many cases around instructional supplies, it's often level service budget for those items. At that point, we then bring the school committee into the discussion, and we're sure to have the school committee see exactly what principals we're submitting, because we don't want to have a sense that the school central office has eliminated an initiative and never got before the school committee for consideration. So there is a list of school central office recommendations for the school committee, but at any point, and they have in the past, the school committee that can go through and say, well, we actually support this initiative from, say, Brookside Elementary School, would like to reconsider that. We'll do this typically in a Saturday session and go through the budget line by line and come out with some recommendations. And then we'll go back at that point, typically to our subcommittee of the Finance Committee, and have a discussion about that. We're often sent back to the drawing board to go back and relook at that, see if there's any cost savings or efficiencies we can find. We do that. And then we come back with ultimately another meeting with the school committee and a semi-final proposal, ultimately to a final proposal. So what we have before you tonight, that Kevin and Kathy can explain a bit, is basically our general budget, the special education and English language learner program budgets, which have historically been allowed as sort of mandated costs, which are above and beyond what the school department can typically budget. And the Finance Committee's been very supportive of that over the years. I want to thank the committee for that. And also new initiatives. And this is where I think it's important to have some discussion because we've been also reckoning with this school choice dilemma and why are kids leaving and trying to find that out and how can we make programs more attractive to retain students, if not attract students to the Milford schools. So that's all considered as part of the package, what brings us here to this next step before town meeting. So that said, I'll turn it over to, I don't know, Kathy, if I've stolen
Sure.
your part of the presentation or not, or if you want to just talk about what you have on the summary sheet.
So essentially, if you have this sheet in front of you, the working budget sheet, okay, so if you look at the right-hand side, our level service budget essentially came in with, even with our union contract requirements, a new transportation contract that we went out to bid for, and the utility increase. We essentially moved forward a 1.6% budget to the committee. And at that point, we had a list of all the new expense and personnel initiatives that the committee originally vetted. And the original number that we were looking to bring forward came in at around 5.5%. That captured all of our retirements that we're aware of, as well as new initiatives. So the committee went back and we looked at what possibilities did we have that we could reduce that 5.5% and try to work to get it down to 3.5%. Well, as you know, we had a nice winter that worked well with our utility cost, and we were able to capture almost 1% of our one-time expenses through our FY16 budget, and we did discuss that with our education subcommittee. We let them know. It was essentially textbooks for Stacy's School for Social Studies. We captured new cafeteria tables at the Memorial School that are currently on our capital plan. We were able to purchase those. We were able to purchase biology books for the high school program. We also purchased ELL, a new program for the ELL department out of FY16 for a program. Essentially, it was textbooks for social studies, but specifically for the ELL program.
And that corresponds with the two-year role and the new teachers that are coming into the classroom. It's their curriculum materials.
So having said that, there were approximately 1.87% of new initiatives that we needed to fulfill our mandates for areas such as special ed and ELL. Now, the ELL was vetted last year as part of a 2-year phase expense request that we had, and this essentially is year 2. and that is in that 1.87%. The special ed increases were new initiatives that we brought forward to the FinCom subcommittee. And up above are all of the new growth that we're looking to bring into our school budget that are not ELL nor special ed. And that would be programs such as a reading intervention teacher at Stacy, a math teacher at the high school, which would have dual certification. And Kevin can speak to what that math program will look like with some of our new area programs. The Woodland Instrumental Program, we had to work closely with our union to establish what we're going to call a specialist program and bring in at the Woodland School instrumental specialists that are not part of the union. They will be brought on an hourly basis and integrated into the calendar for student program development on the from the music program. In addition to that, we will also be, for the Woodland School, we needed to have an additional music teacher for the schedule. In addition to that, a director's secretary position, which was eliminated approximately 8 years ago. We're now just bringing that position forward. With the new athletic department, we do have a 12-month athletic director, where in the past we had a 10. So he's looking for additional support, as well as the ELL director, the music director, and Rob Quinn as the maintenance director. And the last item that's not ELL or special ed is the school committee is looking to establish a late bus that will allow for students to stay after school for middle school programming, and hopefully be able to enrich themselves with being able to stay after school for programs that kids can't stay for, they don't have a ride. So we're looking to bring in tutoring programs after school and clubs, and allowing students an ability to get a ride home on the bus. And essentially, that's all of our new initiatives out of our level service budget.
Question?
I don't know if Kevin has,
Do you want to speak to some of the new programs?
Yeah, I can do that right now. And we've also reinvested some of the money that we've saved in special education to a variety of programs that have supported all students. We have STEM programs happening at Stacy Middle School and Woodland Elementary School. We have math intervention at K through 4 and 9 through 12. Middle school math reconfiguration, which was part of the money, the one-time money this year, where our focus is really to increase the percentage of students taking algebra in 8th grade, and that requires a full restructure and an alignment to the high school curriculum, with the goal eventually of getting more students into calculus at the high school level, as well as college-level math courses. We also have an early college high school program we're beginning to explore, where we're making partnerships with Framingham State University, Mass Bay Community College, and Quinnisigman Community College. And that's going to cover a variety of programs, which falls within the Mass Core transfer block. And the goal of that program eventually will be to have all of the students in the high school take what's called the AccuPlacer test, which is the test that all state schools, whether they're 2-year, 4-year colleges or universities, do for placement for English and math. And that'll serve two purposes. Purpose one is to allow students to take college courses in high school and get credit and actually have a transcript from whatever institution we happen to partner with for that particular course. And two, we also are able to close the gaps that students may have, so they're not taking remedial courses when they get to college. One of the things we're finding kind of at the state level and nationally is a very high percentage of students at colleges and universities are forced to take remedial English classes or math classes that aren't credit-bearing courses, and it ends up pushing people's graduation date further out, causing more expense to families, as well as reducing the percentage of students who actually finish their 4-year college degree.
One other point I want to make on the budget is a potential revenue. I just read today the House Ways and Means budget supports the governor. It seems to suggest that the kindergarten kindergarten grant money, which we had included in previous budgets, which we were told to take out, and rightly so. So we showed that as a loss, but that may benefit the town, where we may have that difference coming back again this year. So by all accounts, it looks like it's still gonna be funded, although we didn't include that as an offset. So just to let you know, about a possible 100,000 or so give back.
That doesn't happen very often.
Doesn't happen. What will say?
Wait.
Elizabeth.
No way to finish, Bob. There you go.
That's the big one, honey.
This is the big one. I'll,
No, I'm all set.
you all set?
Unbelievable.
Any discussions here?
$92 million budget.
I have a couple. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the school's budget, you'll see it's 3.5%. That's because of special ed and ELL, and if you look at other towns' budgets, if you look at other area towns and other districts, and look at what their school budgets are at, they're generally all in excess of 2.5. They're up in 3. I know Hopedale is fighting at 3.5 to 4. So just being mindful of that, you know, our budget is not unique. School budgets across all our communities are higher than the 2%, generally speaking, so.
Sir.
But Phil, it's not because of sped this year. The budget did not go up because of sped.
I was just looking at special ed and ELL, Al, that's all.
Well, you want to talk about it?
Nope.
'Cause
Well,
tho-
essentially, what Al is referring to, if you look at the right side, you'll look at special ed out-of-district programs, and that tuition went down this year for us from $850,000. So, you know, we developed in-house programs, 8 years ago. And we are now just seeing a lot of those programs that we've developed and allowed kids to stay in our schools with their peers. It's not, I don't want to use the term paying off, because there's a balance where kids get to stay in Milford and attend school with their neighbors and their peers. So essentially, that $853,000 that's been reduced is now being brought in supporting our other programs for our typical kids that have needs that Kevin just spoke to. We're looking at bringing on the math program at the high school, and we're trying to develop some of the areas where if kids are truly leaving because of Hopedale is spending 122% for net school spending, and Milford is paying 111% for their students' education. It's hard to fight that. We need to keep those revenue sources within our budget so that we can be competitive with these area schools and
that's
have
the-
kids stay.
Yeah, that's the short answer, if I may, Mark. It's really to reinvest in programs to make us more competitive, because we're in a competitive environment.
And we talked about that at subcommittee level. What the feeling at the subcommittee was, if we're saving the money, because we gave you extra money, we should take it back. That was the feeling. And we had a long discussion about reinvesting the money, which we've already given them, or taking it back and letting it drop to the bottom line. The subcommittee decided the best thing to do at this point in time is to reinvest that money in the school district. Now, the question comes before this group, what are we going to do next year? Next year, we have to look at it a little bit harder and say, how are we going to fund special ed versus what money was returned to the bottom line? And we'll have that discussion next year, there's no question about it. Okay? So that's why if you really look at the number, it's not 3.5%. But if you take that into consideration, as we have on the subcommittee, I think the school district did a really good job of coming in less than, the number that we wanted was 2.5% without sped and ELL. We more than achieved that. And this 3.5% actually will go down a little bit more because we've signed utility contracts going to lower the utility rate, so that number will come out of the budget as well.
But
Now,
Mark,
I did have a question.
well, Mark, my point was, we are making a significant investment.
Yes.
You know, I don't want anybody thinking, we hear about school choice and all, and this is a significant investment that we're making to improve programs at the school.
Right, and we expect to see results. And choice, and we've had major discussions at subcommittee level with the school committee about choice. Right now, school choice is running 2.5 to 1, people going out, kids going out to kids coming in. It used to be even, Stephen, about $500,000 both ways. It's $1.2 million going out and $500,000 coming in. And the town needs to understand that the Mass General Law says that the district gets to keep the money coming in, and the town has to pay the money going out. We can't take the net difference and charge the school department and say, well, you guys didn't do it this year, we're gonna take that $500,000 back. We can't do that. So the push now for the next year or two from the school department, school committee, is to get students to stay in Milford and have more students come to Milford. There's been a ton of discussion about this. We have charts and graphs of what age groups are going out, what age groups are coming in. Wasn't like that 5 years ago. Kids would come here because of sports and because of the AP programs, and in some cases because of the special ed programs. That's not happening, and that's scary. So we've discussed this with the school committee, and we've agreed, or they've agreed, to start marketing the school better and the school district better, and try to even off those numbers, because it's not good. So that's why these numbers are the way they are. And we've all, the subcommittee have agreed to this. We understand what we're doing, and so does the district. And we're not educators, we don't profess to be, but we try to be conservative and do the best we can for our kids. We've always said that, and we'll continue to do that, okay? And I had a newspaper article here speaking about kids. Mike's kid graduated Milford High School, and he just got his wings in the Air Force, and he flies. Oh, Marine Corps, sorry. Well, they fly planes too.
Take it, Mike.
And he lands F-18s on aircraft carriers, okay? I mean, this is a kid that went through our school system, and we have a lot of those stories. So it's worth investing in the school district, okay, to hear those kind of results.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Sir?
Yeah, I was on the subcommittee, and as Mark mentioned, one of our big concerns was really school choice. I mean, it's a negative outflow, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I think it's a priority for the subcommittee, and it's something that in future years we will clearly focus on, so.
I have a question. We talked about the bus at Stacy. How are you going to gauge if it was successful or not? How many students? I mean, you have 1 year to decide.
Well, it is a pilot for us.
Right.
Because we've done this in the past before, and it seems to start off very strong, and then the ridership drops off. So everybody involved is very cognizant that we don't want to have empty buses running. So we're all very well aware, Mark, and
So
we
we'll
will
come back
watch.
next year and we'll
Absolutely.
get an
And
update.
we're going to follow it throughout the year.
I'm sure you will.
So we're hopeful that besides the kindergarten grant money coming in as a revenue back to the House, also looking at, and hopefully a Chapter 70 increase, but also a Chapter 74 as we continue to expand vocational programming. We've now finally achieved a point with our hospitality tourism management program where the spaces are far less than the number of students who want them. We had about 50 or 60 or so students for 20 spaces for next year.
Good.
Eligible. And these are kids, two of them, in fact, two of our students who are graduating are National Honor Society officers last night. So it gives you a full spectrum of students from our Pathways program right up through class valedictorians. So we're very proud of that program, and hopefully that, and again, that 74 goes back to the town as well. The school department will never make it, at least not since I've been here, we've never made a claim to say, give us only Chapter 70 money. It's a losing proposition. But when there's times where the money goes back to the town, it's a great opportunity for everybody.
Right. I mean, Kathy mentioned net school spending. We spend about $10 million more than this $44 million for the school district. That includes health benefits, retirement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's significant amount of money that this town spends on the district, and it's important. All right, sir.
A few months ago, you gave us a presentation about all the reasons kids were leaving the district. One of the things that the PowerPoint lacked was the quantitative data, like how many kids responded that music was the reason that they were leaving the district or some other reason. I just wanted to see if that you guys could get that quantitative data to us to make sure that these initiatives match.
I've spoken with the chairman and the vice chairman of the school committee, and going forward, the subcommittee is going to have monthly meetings with the school committee and talk about all of the programs that they have and all of the results is one of them, because they did have meetings with that, and we did talk about that at our subcommittee meeting.
Okay.
We voted at our meeting last week, we actually set up a subcommittee of the school committee. We used to, and last year we met quarterly, and we really feel that's not enough. So this subcommittee, the school committee, is gonna meet monthly with the subcommittee or with the finance committee, however, you people decide you wanna set it up. But there's gonna be communication going monthly all year long.
And I've asked them to talk to us about specific programs that they're doing, so we have a better understanding as a committee of how the district works and what this funding is really going to do.
Well, not only that, Mark, also you have a better understanding, but so that we as a school committee have a better understanding of where you're coming from.
Right. Well, Woodward does, no.
Some of the points Kevin made in his presentation about algebra, reorganizing math programs, for example, or get to some of the points that were made by the survey respondents around rigor. So that's a direct response to some of what we've been hearing. And there's a number of other examples we didn't mention tonight that we took into consideration in putting forward a new program innovation.
All right,
There'll
any
be
other?
ongoing dialogue.
And to add to that, we're also looking at what our competitors are offering, what some of the private schools are offering, what some of the charter schools are offering.
This is where the grenades get thrown.
Yeah, and where we're gonna go.
We have to, I'm sorry, but we have to move on. Any other discussion? Chuck?
You had plans to market the school curriculum a little better. Excuse me, I had a little problem, but, how would you market how would you market it? Through,
I think it's a variety of strategies. I think, one thing is it's never gonna be one thing. I think we're looking at using leveraging technology, offering more evening programming for parents so they get an understanding of, what does the math, if I'm an elementary parent, what does the math program look like in middle school and high school? Where are our kids going to college when they graduate? What opportunities are there for like AP, college courses, electives, athletics, extracurriculars, those kinds of things. And I think it's probably gonna be, it's gonna be one blanket campaign, but there's probably 15 to 25 strategies that are gonna kind of fall underneath that.
We done?
I just want to wish you luck. It's our last time I think you'll be sitting in front of us, Bob, so I appreciate,
It's my 10th meeting before the finance committee.
yeah, and the last one hopefully, so.
Yeah,
The
well,
next-
at least in this town, anyway.
The next finance committee, he's just in front of, they just write checks.
That's right. No, seriously, I wanted to thank you for your service and all the years, and good luck. Hopefully, they're not as tough on you as we are, so.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to serve the town of Milford.
Need a motion, need a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the budget.
No, accept,
Accept. Yes.
Accept. As presented?
as presented.
Second.
Any second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, everybody.
That was good.
Good luck, Bob.
All right. A little bit longer than I wanted, but works for me. Paul.
I did, but he didn't help.
This is slow. This is really slow.
Picture that I saw on Facebook.
Go home now. After the budget's done.
What do you think?
school budget.
All right. Next up is the Board of Health. I brought the Board of Health, they're not over budget. I brought the Board of Health in here for a number of other reasons. They have some very positive news to report, and I thought it would be important for you guys to talk about the new contract with both Wheelabrator and how much money we're saving going forward, okay? Sure. Basically, an update of where we are on trash.
Okay. Oh, excuse me, what budget is it again, please?
Uh,
Was it?
431.
431 and 510, but it's the first tab, the lowest number.
Right.
If you're trying to find it.
We're all together.
Where's the Andrew? Technical difficulties over here, so.
Must be operator error.
Operator error. Yeah, no doubt.
It's gonna be a longer meeting than I figured.
Rubbish. Board of Health. 431. What do you say, 531?
This tab is.
Andrew, same thing, look at this here. What's the increase? 45,000?
he asked about the trash, it looks like the increase is what, 45,000? Gotta add an hour for,
No, I wanted to correct that. About
Gotta add an hour to our meeting.
What I did, Bobby,
I can't see this chair.
that first figure you see on my, my explanation,
Yeah, yeah.
that's, I made a mistake. I used like 2015's figures.
Okay.
So in other words, where it says 1,100,000,
69, 1
69,
million.
yeah, that should be 1,037,250.
Okay, so it's going down.
It's about 25,000.
It's like, it's a good deal.
I sent that to you. All right, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, what the Board of Health did was try to adhere to everything that the Finance Committee would recommend for us to do. And we made a bona fide attempt to do that. One of the things we always try to do is raise that level, that bar, that achievement bar in meeting the budget and going above and beyond with rubbish. And why we're so particular with rubbish is because Milford is probably one of the only maybe 5 to 6 towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that actually still has their curbside rubbish and recycling off the tax base. There is no bag fee, there's no user fee. We also have a combination of both not only the curbside pickup, but also the luxury of having a transfer facility in town that is supported by fees, because that's the, more or less, we look at that as a luxury as opposed to a necessity. So that's what we have. In the past, our rubbish goes to Wheelabrator, which is a waste-to-energy plant on Route 20. And what they do is they take our rubbish from maybe in like 25, 30 other towns, and that rubbish is burnt at the incinerator and also sold as the energy that they use to burn it is actually sold as electricity. We get charged per ton. As you could see, the budget, we have it divided into curbside pickup, and we have a disposal budget. The disposal budget is something that we try to look at every year. There was at one time, as most of you fellas and ladies that were on the committee a few years back, or just a year back, we were paying close to, at one time, $92, $93 per ton. And then that, we then renegotiated with the incinerator, and we brought that down to, at the time, $64 a ton. It then started to rise up to $75 per ton, and then we renegotiated again, and we brought that down to $64 a ton. That was like that for the last 18 months. This year, this fiscal year, starting July 1st, it's going to be raised $2 more a ton to $66 a ton. So we did realize quite a bit of savings. We average a little over 8,000 ton per year. And what we always try to do is bring home the recycling benefits in town, because that's something that we can control as well. The less tonnage that we have at the incinerator, the more money that we're saving. One of the things that we're facing now is we're getting less, we're getting the less volume, but the tonnage doesn't seem, we're getting more volume, but the tonnage seems to be going up. And the reason why that's happening is because the materials, the materials that weigh the most, such as your glass and papers, glass is being replaced mostly by plastic, which weighs hardly anything, and your newspapers and magazines are being replaced by articles and newspapers that are on the computer, so they can get that online, so they're not buying as much. So the two heaviest items that we can recycle seem to be decreasing in volume. So that's why our tonnage we seem to be struggling with. But the recycling effort is there.
There was a whole expose on 60 Minutes about recycling last weekend or the weekend before. It was pretty interesting across the country about how people actually are increasing the recycling and becoming a lot more cognizant of that because of landfills and everything else. I think it's really important to do it. And we do a good job here.
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do is think outside the box than, your regular bottles and cans and whatnot. So let's see if we can replace heavier items that we now put at curbside, and we can recycle them. So right now, we're looking into, well, we're already doing it right now, the textiles, we're trying to get them out of the waste stream. And our next item is gonna be box spring and mattresses, as well as carpeting, because there are markets for those particular items. And if we could recycle them and get them out of the waste stream, that's something hopefully we could make up for the glass and the paper.
How's the transfer station? I know you guys want to build a new shed down there. What's
Right,
going
yeah,
on with that?
our transfer station is doing fine. Like I said, that's something that we improve each year. We try to maintain as much as we can of that by using any excess funds that we would have there without asking the taxpayers or the finance committee for extra money. The trailer is the original trailer, office trailer that we have. And we got that, I think, in 1985, 86. And it's starting to show its age. So what we'd like to do is, we do have excess funds that we've asked the finance committee in the past if we could use, going back a few years, and you guys gave us permission to do that. So we have that saved aside. We have about close to $30,000 there for that.
Thought it was closer to 50, but it's all right.
It could be. I gotta
Well, last
check.
time I looked, I think it was 56,000, but
Oh, you used some, your shed got hit by lightning, so you used some of that money to fix the shed, didn't you?
Well, we did. We used some of that, but what we did, we asked Blackstone Valley Technical School to help us out, and they built the shed for us, so we just had to pay for the materials. So we cut that down in half. But what we'd like to do is replace that trailer that we have now with let's say, a wooden office shed, as opposed to the trailer. The only thing is connected to water and sewer, and the electrical lines are there, so that's something that we're gonna have to work out.
3-bedroom house is what you want.
Yeah, would like at least a 2.
Any other, how's our visiting nurses doing? I know that number went up.
Visiting nurses are fine. Like I said, we did a lot with them. At one time, we asked the finance committee for a pretty substantial increase, and that was due to the tuberculosis cases that we had in town. Back in 2005, 2006, we had, up to that time, we had 0. I think the last case we had prior to that was probably in the early 40s, maybe the mid-40s. And then we had like 9 cases in 1 year, confirmed cases that we knew of. So of course, we had to get our public health nurses involved. And with that came the observation therapy. So when someone has tuberculosis, they have to make sure that they are taking their medication. In a lot of the individuals, we had a lot of international residents in town, and we had to more or less make sure they were taking their medication, mostly at night. So now we had to have nurses at night, along with an interpreter and some protection as well. And that increased our fees for them. So what happened is, when it started to taper off, where we worked with Milford Regional, and we actually had a tuberculosis clinic in town. They only had 2 at the time, one in Framingham and one in Worcester. They were only open certain hours during the day. So now we actually have one in Milford, as well as the Kennedy Medical Center that just opened about 1.5 years ago. Where that started to taper off, we then renegotiated with them, with the VNA, and we saved like close to a little over $25,000. With that, we provided a nurse at the senior center. We felt as though that's an aging population in town that seems to be ignored sometime. And there are a lot of seniors had some questions that were a little apprehensive on seeing their own doctor, or they couldn't get an appointment right away. And they needed information on their medications, or their dentures were hurting them, or they've been having dizzy spells. They needed their blood pressure checked and whatnot. So that nurse is down there 6 hours a week. 12 hours a week, 2 days, and it's a huge success. What we also did too at this reorganizational meeting we had this past Monday, we had money saved from we used to always have a Board of Health doctor. And Dr. Tugnazzi was ours, and then he passed away, and we had one or two help us out, and they didn't want to do it anymore. We know that Dr. Perriello has retired, so we appointed him as our Board of Health doctor. So he's going to actually help out not only with the school, but also with the senior center and any other public health programs that we feel as though that we need in town.
Any questions? Dean?
How's the landlord certification program so far?
That's working out well, and it's something that we renew every year. And we have a renewal every year for this, because people ask, why are we doing this every year? Well, we're doing this every year because, as you guys know, real estate changes quite often. So our records are always updated, year after year. Just to let a little nudge that the property owners know that there is still an obligation for them to abide by the maximum occupancy. We still get sporadic complaints that we investigate, but it has gone down substantially. And one of the measurements that I look at is, prior to this program that we had, it was, as you guys know, was running rampant through town. Now we have potential landlords coming in, asking the Board of Health, saying that they understand we have a regulation in place, they want to adhere to it. Realtors come in and find out more information. Attorneys representing potential buyers and sellers want to know if their certificates are up to date and what they need. So the education and awareness that we try to put out there it seems to be working because more people are aware of it.
Any other questions?
Move to accept the budget,
Who's the
Mr.
subcommittee chair? Board of Health.
Me. I move to accept the budget.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate it.
everything. Thanks for all you do. See you.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
a question for you, or maybe Paul. Where is he?
He's over there,
Abadanza.
way in the back.
I know in past years when we got the budgets, there were always backup sheets, and I'll use, only because I'm most familiar with it, the police department. You got a list of all officers, what their current salary was, what their longevity payment was, what any other payments were
on here.
vis-à-vis, okay, I don't see it. Am I not looking in the right spot?
Which one are you looking at?
Well, right now, I'm looking at the waste collection,
Okay.
which is the,
There's no,
you're not gonna get it there.
there's
No,
no,
salaries and wages.
there's no people on there.
Better be, salaries and wages.
No policeman.
No, salary and wages, all right, look at 431.
I'm looking at 431, 5110, salaries and wages, 60,305.
Yes, sir.
431 is hourly non-rated employees, so
So it's,
sporadic
okay.
So there's nothing there.
Gotcha, okay.
Oh, grow.
Those little tabs on the bottom.
There you are, okay. Got it.
Personal service summary.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're
Thank
all-
you,
they're
Mr.
all
Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah, everything that we normally get in the
I'm
book.
on a learning curve.
We all are. I think, but I think this is good because that's the way we all learn.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up is library.
6:10.
Being very patient, I know that they came early because they had their dinner out. They were tailgating the finance committee out in the parking lot. I mean, so I think that's cool. All right, Michael, you're up. You wrote an excellent report, by the way.
Excellent.
Well, wait a minute.
Excellent.
Gets an excellent.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for critiquing my report. I appreciate it. And Mr. DeVito is getting up to speed. This will be just as good
I'm
next
on a
time.
learning curve, Mr. Schiavi.
So we met last week ago Monday with the library and the library director and the trustees to go over the budgets as a
Department
regular-
number, sir.
6:10.
610. So, a couple things from the meeting from last week. Negotiations were completed with the library union. So, that agreement and settlement from the contract went into effect April 1st. So it was a 2% retroactive increase for the current fiscal year 16. Then for fiscal year 17, the previous step one was reset, and the steps after that were adjusted. So that effectively means a 3% increase for fiscal year 17, plus a 2% raise increase for fiscal year 17, the current proposed budget, and then another 2% for fiscal year 18. Consequently, her submitted budget is currently not within the guidance as proposed by the finance director. So I think the salary went up about 5.6%, and total overall budget's at 4.7%. General expenses only went up a 1.1% increase. So there's a couple of things. We need to understand a little bit more about that effect of the union contract and the budget that was proposed. We also need to determine how we're going to retroactively reimburse the effect of the contract on the current fiscal year 16, which is about $32,000. And I think Mr. Correa can correct me if I'm wrong. The policy of the Finance Committee was to never penalize a department for a union contract that's already been, with a budget that's already in place, and that she then, that the department will increase the budgets going forward by the contract requirements, and library director's done that for the current contract. So we can talk about fiscal year 16 first, or we can talk about fiscal year 17.
Well, I think that we should talk about 17. And we'll come back to 16.
Okay.
Because I agree with you, except that sometimes we do penalize people. No. I'm kidding.
Take that one off as a kidding.
I was under the impression, I just want to, I guess we all want to know why the 4.9%? What caused that?
Primarily, it's the settling of the contract, and that is fiscal 17 is the second year of the 3-year contract. And I put in the fiscal 17 rates. I know in the beginning, it said, as part of the information, don't add the, contract, but the contract was settled, so I decided to put in the rates, so that's.
That's fine.
Yeah, and the other thing is I inadvertently forgot to put in the raise for an assistant director.
Right, so that was supplementary to the budget, so
Yeah.
she needs another $2,400 that's not in there. but needs to be-
What was the contract settlement?
Mr. Chairman?
What was the contract settlement? 2%, 2.5%?
It was,
Two,
Two.
and two.
Yeah, I got
Plus
two.
3% because of the step change.
yeah.
What step change?
What they did is
Step level.
step levels, there's 5 steps. They took out the bottom level for fiscal 2017, and they made it higher at the other end for step 5. This is what was negotiated.
Eliminated step 1, so now step 2 is 1, and 5 is a percent.
Yeah, so they theoretically increased the range of the steps, okay?
So that effectively is a 3% increase for the current fiscal, the submitted budget. for
Plus
17.
the 2.5%. Yeah, because the numbers went from 914 to 968.
That's right.
It's $54,000 increase.
There was no increase in FY 16.
No, but we're gonna cover the FY 16 budget.
Right, so that's really the increase for 2 fiscal years you're jumping there.
Okay, so that would have been it's 32,009, 946 to 968, so it's talking about $22,000 increase.
All the increases is the salary. We kept our operating budget very low. We live within our budget. We're gonna make the state aid requirements. With the current budget, it's all contractual.
So we're gonna meet certification number?
Yes.
Yes, her budget definitely comes in over the certification number without an issue. But the certification number will also be adjusted for the salary union contract, but it still meets the certification.
All right, Albert.
You said the 2,400 was an increase. My understanding is it wasn't an increase, you just didn't
I
put
didn't
it in.
put, yeah.
So I want to make sure everybody understands.
It wasn't a raise, it was the
It wasn't a
stipend.
raise, it was a stipend that for 3 months wasn't being paid, so it just got omitted.
Yes.
So it's the same as last year,
That's correct.
only you're putting it in because we made a mistake and didn't put it in. Not an increase.
No, that's right. It was an inadvertent.
Yes.
It was an oops.
Yeah.
Yes, big
Okay.
oops.
So the budget that she submitted for the salaries needs to go up by $2,400. But there's nothing else other than just the fact there's no new staffing positions. It was really just a math, if you add the salary increases for the contract, and the arrangement of the contract, it's $54,000 more than last year. 5.6%.
Well, it's not really, but Not if we put the
When you
32 back.
adjust, that's right, when you adjust it, it's not that, but it's the 2 and the 3.
Well, I think that's important to understand. If we adjust physical
Pull that
16,
up, you eliminate that 2.
Right.
But then you have 3 and 2
Right.
from there, right.
Mr.
3 for the
Chairman?
steps and 2 for the increase.
Bob,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike, I'll address my comments to you and subsequently to the representative of the library. Essentially, you did exactly what this committee asked you to do. I mean, we are going to meet contractual obligations, as you well know, when you chaired the police and fire, we run into the very same thing. They find it very difficult to stay within the 2.5% guidelines. And if my math is correct, the other portion of the budget, expenses, general expenses, come on, move, okay, is about a 1% increase.
That's all.
So I say job well done. And unless someone has some criticism or some items they want to challenge, I would move to not recommend, but accept the budget as presented.
and you know, you're right, Bob, and I think, as I said earlier, if we add that 32,000 into FY16 number, the salary number, which brings it up to 946,
Yeah.
there's only a $26,000 increase.
Right.
Okay, so it's less than, the 4.9% is a misnomer.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not figured correctly in that case.
It's 2 years and 1, we get it.
Right.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, who negotiates the contract?
The selectmen and the union,
The Selectmen
The
Union.
union, but on the town side is selectmen?
the selectmen.
Thank you.
Literally, or Jerry Moody?
Well, they have Ernie Pettinari as their
Ernie?
representative, at least this time.
So we have a motion on the floor to accept. I don't think it was
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Phil did. All in favor? All right, thank you.
Well,
Let's
thank you
talk
very
about.
much.
No, we're not done yet.
Don't move.
Oh,
You haven't been- He hasn't dismissed you yet.
oh,
There was another issue to discuss, and what are we gonna do with the 32,000
About $32,000.
from last, that we have to cover the contract for? I mean, we've historically done that.
Is it a separate article?
Is it an article on the
So it
warrant?
came in too late to put an article on the town meeting because the union contract wasn't signed until April 1st, so it was too late to put an article on the spring town meeting. Now, there was an unfilled position that we have some balance on that the director is going to fill in May, so we have from the beginning of the fiscal year last July through now, which is about 16,000?
yeah, around, I'd say $16,000 for the unfilled
And we can
positions.
apply to that, and then we just need to supplement the balance if she hires
Yeah.
somebody and.
Put an article on town meeting.
No, I just think that, the proper way to do this is transfer the money out of our account.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well. The question was, can
And
we
let the
transfer it
other,
all?
let the 16,000 drop to the bottom, sir?
I just ran the calculations today, so this unencumbered, salary of 35,000, however, to Mike's point, they are looking to fill a position. I also do sponsor an article to do transfers, so we could also do it through my article as well, rather than touching the reserve fund.
All right, maybe we do that.
Maybe we do that.
Yeah, that makes.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it
Right now,
on,
I'm working with Sue to figure out what the exact figures will be.
All right.
And we will look at when the hire comes in, and I'll have an exact number.
all right, we'll take that out of the free cash number on your transfer
Yeah.
if we have to, right? Okay.
I'm
If there's nothing else available, then we'll pull it from there. So we're covered. All right, any discussion about that? Motion?
Second.
All in favor? All right, so we'll cover your 32,000 and change, but it'll be the last.
I appreciate the board, and you've always been very helpful with the library,
My concern always with the library is that we meet state certification.
and we will.
Okay, that's fine. All right, good job. Good job, Michael.
Are we dismissed?
You are dismissed.
Thank you.
Go now.
Thank
Leave
you.
while you're ahead.
You're not in school, thank you.
All right. Highway Department, not here.
I have one question. Did we make sure the $2,400 for the assistant director, was that part of the
We'll add it to the
motion?
We're just gonna add it to,
Okay.
it's just a
We'll add
mistake.
it to the
All right, just
17th.
want to make
We'll add
sure
it to the budget.
so that nothing gets forgotten. All right, thank you
We'll
very
take care
much.
of
I love it, I love it.
Not a problem.
I love it.
Isn't this great?
This is expand, for those of you who are learning through trial and error, when you expand the field, you'll lose your tabs at the bottom.
Well, you could.
You do.
It's like Excel.
You
All right,
lose them.
highway. You know highway?
You gotta bring them back. Did you load all of this?
Okay. All right, let's,
You don't really lose them.
all right.
Never mind, I don't wanna.
All right, Highway Department came in at 3.5%. They aren't here. Chris is the subcommittee chair.
Yep, when we were looking at this, highway, the 421 did come at 3.5%, but their second department, 422, only came in at 1.4. So when you put the departments together, he was exactly at the 2.5%. So it's just a question of one did not go as much and up as much, and the other one went up more. But when you put his departments together, he went up 2.5%. So he had salary obligations in the 421 that went up that caused it to be over 3.5%. But in the 422, he had reductions in gasoline, sidewalk repairs, miscellaneous things. So when you add the two departments together, which is basically his entire budget, he was right at 2.5. So.
That's good.
Move accept, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right. We have a few things, by the way, to fill in on this. There's a tab here on the Finance Committee for subcommittees, and they're all listed. We just have to fill in the names so we can look it up and see who's in fact in charge. All right, next item is Youth Center. And I see we have the Youth Center here. It's awesome. Come on up. Sydney? The Youth Center is not over budget. Well, they are over budget. They're 100% over budget. But I brought them in for, what?
Mr. Chairman, under the finance director folder, I put 2 spreadsheets that will be of assistance when you discuss this.
Put 2 spreadsheets. Let's see.
It's an analysis of their operating budget at the revolving fund level.
Right. We just have to wait for the computer to bring it up. I love doing that. All right. I actually brought the youth center in for 2 purposes. One, to talk about their budget, and one to talk about the new youth center opening and what they are planning to do in the future to increase membership in that brand-new building. So let's start with the budget. You guys run. The budget went from, went up to 116,000, from 60,000, that's not right.
Is it 5'2"?
542.
62,000 to 116 because they want to add an assistant director. Michael?
But you agreed to, we sent you the letter, you agreed to fund in the Maytown meeting.
We, what?
We just, when we were here the last time, we discussed that, about adding the assistant director's position. Chris is shaking his head, so I know I'm not crazy.
Jeff?
That was my understanding too, that with that, how many voted to add the salary for the assistant director to the budget?
And remember, we waited because they wanted to do it last time, and we
Okay.
said no, and we said, come
Okay.
back, and that's
Wait
what they're
till the new
doing.
building is Mark, that comes under general government now. That's going on the general government.
Correct.
Right, it's going on,
Director position is going to come in
Right.
under Mr. Villani's budget, under general government.
no.
I think it is,
It's
isn't it?
going to come into the youth center budget, which, it's separate budget.
Right.
The only thing that comes under the general government budget are the utilities in that building, at this point
My
in time.
mistake.
It's the human services.
2, 3, 4,
Right.
5.
Right.
So we're going to increase the youth center budget to incorporate the addition of,
Assistant director.
okay.
All right, and then we're gonna give them time to run the building and see what the utility costs are going to be, and the maintenance costs. And if necessary, by next town meeting in October, they may have some data, and we may have to do some funding for that, either in Rick's budget or in their budget. Because I think we agreed last year to make this a totally separate budget and move that stuff around, so we're working on that.
Mark, I was gonna recommend, just like we did with the school, maybe what we should do is, again, set up a subcommittee. This being, what I'm saying is, we need to work very, very closely with Jeff, you know, through this process, once the new building opens up, because there's gonna be a lot of new things coming.
Right. I would suggest you don't, the meetings conflict at this point in time, so that's a problem. Your meeting was tonight, our meeting is tonight, so we need to see if we can't manage that.
Tonight was a renovation meeting, but our normal youth center meeting, Jeff is able to attend.
So maybe we should, all right, let's accept this budget as presented. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? All right, that's good. Talk to us about the youth center. Where are we in the building? What's going on?
The grand reopening will be May 14th with Celebrate Milford. So there will be ribbon cutting ceremony at 1 o'clock with tours from 2 to 3. And then that Monday, which is the 16th, will be open to the kids and running and on its way.
How's it look?
Outstanding.
Beautiful.
I was just gonna say, if
Gorgeous.
anybody hasn't been in it, you have to try to get into it, because it's the
Floor
best way to
done?
describe
Gym
it.
floor done?
They painted the lines today, they're wet, but it looks beautiful. So if anyone's around for the Celebrate Milford, I suggest try to come on over, check it out. I mean, it's just about there. I mean, there's a few things going on, but it'll be done and ready for the 14th, and it is beautiful.
When you see what they did with the head house, the front of the building, you'll be totally surprised, particularly what they did upstairs. How many rooms they developed upstairs is unbelievable.
No, I saw the building before they did the gym floor. We took a tour, and it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
I was very
it really
impressed.
is.
We even went on the roof.
Yep,
So-
yep. Thanks
Well,
to your help.
We were pushing turrets off of the roof. but-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be gorgeous.
All right, and the last thing that we need to talk about, I think, is have you back sometime in the fall with proposals on what you guys are gonna do to increase membership in that building. 100 kids just, the numbers don't work, so we need to see if we can get the rest of this town involved in the youth center and programs. So we have 1,000 kids in that building on a weekly basis, so that the numbers, you know, the ROI works.
We're seeing 100 kids a day in that building.
But it's the same kids. It's the same kids, though, Sydney. We want to see additional kids.
We got softball, we got
No, it doesn't count.
lacrosse, we
Doesn't
got
count.
all those
No,
activities.
doesn't count.
that go
You're
through.
talking about the after-school program.
I'm talking about your after-school programs, not the stuff that not the other organizations that utilize the facility.
And in the fall, we will be able to, and now we have a safe, dry building. We have the
Right.
help
Yeah.
we need, we have
Right.
the programs we can run. It's gonna be a whole different place.
That's the objective. That's our objective for spending 5.2 million, is to get many more of the town's children to the youth center for the programs that you offer.
They're all gonna wanna be in here. It's a beautiful place, so.
It's awesome.
It's gonna be the same as I say it all the time, the Fields Project. If you go to the fields on like a Sunday afternoon and just stand there as people are coming out from other towns, you can hear them talking, how envious they are of the town of Milford for the Fields Projects. You're gonna get the same results of the people that are coming out of that building. They're gonna be so envious of that youth center. It's magnificent.
That's the plan.
Yep.
Now we have to implement.
Yep.
Any questions, guys? Team? Ma'am? Yep, ma'am. We all set?
Is it?
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What?
We're gonna break
You have permission. Raise your hand. Go ahead.
Director's
The goal is not necessarily to generate revenue. We'll print everything out.
We'll print everything out.
Did they come in and budget?
Oh, we do, we care. I mean, no, that we're paying for. We're paying for the salaries. All right, anybody want to take a 5-minute?
Yes.
No,
No? All right. So, there's a lot more budgets to talk about. Let's talk about a few of them.
I got the general government budget ready.
General government, let's talk about general government.
go.
Go ahead, Jerry.
It's on this, you have it on your drive, if I did it correctly, so see if you can find it.
General government, okay.
I may need some help putting it on the right space in the drive, but
You know what we need? I'll
What's
tell
the
you.
number of general government?
well, I actually put it up under,
We
What'd you
need,
put it under?
you'll see it. Let me take a quick gander and find it again.
Andy, what, this is an aside, one of the issues here is that we don't have, this mouse is not the best mouse in the world. Some of the, I can't use it all
I
the
got my
time.
own.
I think we need pens with,
Screen is touchscreen, you can't touch
I know,
the
but it's very small. We have fat fingers.
They get bigger.
Yeah, they're cheap. I mean, in fact, you can get regular pens with the soft tip on the
I
end.
don't think it's there.
All
All right, thank you.
Um,
All right.
I put the,
Then they have
Where
me
did you
doubting
put it,
myself
Jerry?
here.
it's under,
Good, Bobby, but I might stay on because these.
I have it on, okay, let's go down it. Okay, I apologize. I have it in here, I
Jerry,
put
if you
it.
just wanna talk
145.
about it, that'd be okay.
I renamed it, in fact. Now I'm aggravated because I had it up a minute ago on my own.
You can't. This is a,
Jerry's
read-
budget.
Jerry, this is read-only. You can't.
I put this file up of my
Can't.
own. Yes, I did.
How did you do that?
Can I not?
You can put them on.
You just can't change anything.
Oh,
You
I
can
put-
upload stuff.
all right.
I put this up on the drive because this is a recap of general government.
It's not there? All right, well, why don't you just go over it?
Okay, let me go down it. If you sit next to someone on the subcommittee, this is a printout that I have prepared on the general government. Okay, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 footnotes. The departments of the general government go down. Department number 114, moderator within target. Selectmen's budget of 230,000 in target. FinCom of 33,949 in target. Reserve accounts on the number. We're gonna skip by the accountants, number 135, and go to the assessors, which is under target. General government overall is 843,000 within target, but I gotta there's some explanations that are due there a little bit. Law department is within target at 132,955. Personnel, 5912 in target. Tax title, 15,000 target. The clerk's office is in target. Elections, I'll do the elections now because it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. The variance to target is 20,181. In essence, they're over by 20,181, and that's because we have 3 elections in the next cycle. One of them being the primary, the presidential, and the town. Okay, the registrations department is on target. Conservation, a lot of these are under, by the way, quite a
Yeah,
bit.
everything else looks good.
Coming on down, all the way down, public property, insurance, Veterans Department, everything's fine. Now we do need to spend some time and talk about the accountants department, the town accountant. The variance to target is 71,908. That's an increase of what we had projected. The reason for that is we've requested funding for the assistant town accountant to a town accountant position, that's a promotion. Plus, we have to incorporate our new CFO's position of 13,000 additional. So that's 62,000 plus 13,000.
What?
Did I get that right, Zach? Huh?
CFO? When did we hire a CFO?
Finance director, but
Oh.
what I had also done was.
Sounds
Did you
good.
apply for that,
A
John?
lot of our general government employees are in Department 148.
Right.
The selectman had promoted my assistant to town accountant, so I moved him out of 148 and into my budget, 135. So there's a promotion from assistant to town accountant, step 1 for him, as well as my new contract as finance director. So it's a little deceiving to see an increase that large. It's really moving someone out of one department into another.
I had that question, Zach.
One
I said, that's a hell of a promotion.
Zach, let me ask you, you said you pulled it out of 148, but
He'll
148 still
apply.
went up 2.5%.
No, it didn't, hold on, let me,
Okay.
148 didn't go up 2.5%. 843 was the target that submitted 843. The reason why it's on target is because he pulled some out
Oh, it's an actual 2.5%. That's why I'm looking.
Okay, you gotta follow this sheet, okay, because I actually recapped the whole thing.
Then you should print it out for us.
I tried to, it's on here. It's on the drive, but I can't pull it up. I had it up a minute ago.
Jerry,
Go ahead.
are they
All right.
over the 2.5? Where, just
Oh,
give me
no,
a,
the total is way over.
Okay, if the total is good,
No, the total is over. Total's over. Total's over by 4.5%.
we have to.
Total increase is a 181,811 for 4.5%. And the variance to the target that we gave him is 83,000. Because of what I just explained to you. The 71,000 is the increase from the promotion from the assistant accountant to the town accountant's position, plus Zach's increase, plus the treasurer's position. We hired a new treasurer, and we incurred a $16,000 increase in that position when we hired that new treasurer. And the tax collector's position is over by $1,900 for multiple step increases within that department. So those are contractual in the tax
And the
collector.
one-time election.
What's that?
And the one-time election.
And the one-time election is also 20,000.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Okay, so the total general government budget, when you pull it all down, is increased to $181,811 over FY 2006. But the thing that we probably need to keep in mind is the selectmen, this was all reviewed by the selectmen's meeting Monday night, and they have approved all these positions and increase.
The selectmen will approve anything when it comes to their
Okay.
budgets. Okay.
And if anybody would like the detail, you do have this on the drive, because it is there. There's approximately 20 pages of explanation and detail and justification. At first, I wasn't sure when I heard about these increases whether we were going to support them or not. But when you look at the very extensive detail as to what's been requested, I'd have a hard time in, actually challenging any of them, to be quite honest, because it just kind of, when you look at them, I think I forgot to talk about the senior building custodian. Does that go into 148 now?
Yes.
Okay, so that was an increase. Excuse me?
192.
192. So there was another increase of $11,556, and the total increase is $118,352. Yeah, you want me to try to send it to you again?
I think you should put it back, give it to me, send it to me, and I'll put it
That
up.
analysis is in the finance director
Here
folder.
it is, it's right here on the drive. You want it on my little hard drive?
No.
I got it right here.
It's in yours, Zach?
Yes.
You have this?
Yeah,
Did you did you get the one I sent?
not the one that you created, but the one that, the analysis I put together that explains all of it.
Yeah, there's a 28 page.
That's 28-page
All right,
document.
here's what I think we're gonna do. We should table this right at the moment. We'll get some more information, put it back up on the drive where we can all see it and understand it, and we'll talk about it at our next meeting.
It's your turn.
Now that I learned how to.
Should we
27.
get like a Cliff Notes version, so we don't have to go through 28 pages? I mean,
Well, it's not hard to go through 28 pages if you're looking at it online. Okay.
I mean,
It's got all
We could,
supporting documentation.
we
A lot of
could,
it's just tables.
we
You
could
can
talk
read
about
like
it tomorrow
couple
night.
pages.
are we adding personnel?
We are.
We're actually adding,
I think we're promoting personnel.
there's 6 personnel changes that are incorporated in this general government budget.
We'll put this on the agenda.
Headcount-wise, Jerry.
Well, I'm not gonna be here to go over
Headcount-wise, are
that.
we adding?
Well, he'll be here.
Zach.
We'll just go over it again tomorrow night. What's your recommendation, Jerry?
I recommend that we approve it as provided.
Okay,
And
so,
only based on 2 things. When you look at the analysis provided by the police chief, when you look at the analysis provided by the senior center director and what's involved, it's a part-time position going to a full-time position. And I was concerned that part-time going to full-time not only is a doubling of the wages and salaries involved, but it incorporates benefits. But then I step back and look at it again, and what's going on there, it's kind of a little bit of a similar situation to what's going on in the youth center. The business at the senior center has increased significantly. And then the other increase was the facilities director, from a senior custodian to a facilities director. That's already been approved by the personnel board. And my only concern on that one is that they have approved a retroactive pay on that particular person. And we normally don't fund retroactive pay increases. We normally have to have town meeting articles to get funding for retroactive. That's how Jerry Moody normally does that with all the town contracts. It's in the past. So I'm not sure where we have funding for retroactive pay. But Personnel Board has approved it, and the Board of Selectmen have supported it also.
Okay, let's understand the function of the Personnel Board.
Makes sense.
All they do is approve a position, not the position.
The description. yeah.
Right. That's all. They can't approve the hire.
A rate.
A rate, that's all. Right, so it doesn't matter what they approve. I
So
mean,
the rate-
obviously, I mean, the Personnel Board does its job, but the department needs to step forward and say why they want to add that
Andrew?
personnel,
Come here, man.
okay?
I have this right
So what,
sitting on the drive.
why don't we talk about this for tomorrow night?
When you get something to look at.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you something to look at as soon as he puts it up
All
on
right,
the
well,
drive.
let's move on tonight, and we'll table this for tomorrow night.
Can
All
I
right,
get these on my,
police department, who's in
Home.
charge of the police
can I
department?
get these on my computer at home?
You can get them on your computer, though.
Mike's the
Why
police
can't you put this up
department.
on the drive right now?
There's an awful lot of talking about it, Mr. Chairman. Do you want me to
Do it on
answer
mine.
your question?
Yes, I do. The police department is at 4%.
Where's the file?
Police department is at 4%,
put it up
and we met as a subcommittee meeting about a month ago, I think it was.
More or less.
And went through in detail what the increases were.
See,
I
there's,
had it in front of me. I thought we had moved to accept the budget,
wanna
it
see it?
recommended, the subcommittee recommended the budget, but I can't recall at the moment. You wanna
It
give
is
me
right
some more
there.
on that? I'll give you
It's
the
on
detail
my
it.
section
What
of the drive.
okay,
increases
what,
were.
where'd you put it, so I can go look?
Discussion on that. What is budget right now?
We do have that one.
I can bring it up and take a look at it. We didn't think there was any issues when we discussed it with them, and so we did not believe that the police chief needed to come in, nor the fire chief.
And that's why I didn't have some.
Microphone is on.
Thanh you.
Why don't we give Mike till tomorrow night?
Well, it's right here.
That's right, yeah, I didn't believe there was any items that were of significant.
Any items?
Was it really 4%, or was it contractual?
Salaries went up $200,000.
I'm gonna,
Salaries went up about $200,000.
Expenses went down,
without any of this, without this, not.
so they basically went up 4%.
I got my notes from the meeting, so, why don't we table that till tomorrow night, Mr. Chairman, I'll give you the
We can
details.
table it for tomorrow night. That's fine.
And I'll have the fire numbers as well.
Fire was in budget.
Just give you a summary of that too, so.
I just think we should talk about the ones that are out of budget.
Okay.
All right, we talked about Blackstone Valley like last month, why they were at 12%. We added 23 more students. So, and we don't have choices with Blackstone Valley. They tell us what they do. They try to be very conservative in their budget.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. We've always said,
Right,
we're happy to pay for more kids.
exactly. So I think we've covered, other than police and general government, which we'll talk about tomorrow night, all the other budgets are within the 2.5% recommendation. So I will take a motion.
So move.
Second. Any other discussion? We're accepting all the other budgets other than general government.
IT.
And police and IT, and we'll talk about that separately. All in favor?
Town administrator.
Opposed? We're good. Okay. We're running a little behind schedule, guys.
IT and who?
IT and general government.
Police, general government, and IT.
Hey, Mark, can I make it real quick on the next ones?
You can.
Motion, since Articles 5 through 14 are reoccurring, and articles that for the past 15 years we've always approved, I'd make a motion to accept 5 through 14.
Second.
No, we vote favorable or unfavorable? What?
Favorable.
What, Paul?
No, I was just gonna say, did everyone get an opportunity to open up the town meeting warrant
It's
on
on-
their tab? And everyone's gonna open up so they can see what they're looking at.
Right, it's on here. If you go back to the Finance Committee folder, there's a tab says Town Meeting Warrant.
Warren.
All right. Eventually, we're gonna have to make that by year, but, all All right, so everybody has town meeting warrant. Got it?
Back to the finance committee.
I'm with youth services, you can delete that one. I'm with the library, so you can delete that one. No, off of here. Okay, so now you go back,
All the way to the top left.
go back here to finance committee, FY17.
No, even one more.
Do we get to the, what you call it, the articles?
Yeah.
He's got icicles on
I mean, wait.
Excuse me, Chucky.
We're gonna have a vote?
It's great in here. I hate it when it's so fucking hot.
You got a motion?
All right,
Mark, can we
gentlemen.
do sewer while they're outside waiting, the sewer department? They got Article 32.
Yep, we're, you want to bring them up ahead?
Well, they're here.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to accept or vote favorable Articles 5 through 14, which is annual articles, what we used to call house articles. Okay?
Yeah.
Any discussion?
About time, for God's sake.
Gentlemen, all in favor? Ladies? All right, 5 through 14 are accepted.
Mr. Chairman, real quick on the police, it was a union contract increased it with the numbers, and Mike will put those on the files for tomorrow night.
Not a problem.
So there's no.
No, I didn't think there was. All right. We have the sewer department, that's Article 32. Gentlemen, ladies, come on. I asked the sewer department to come in because their article is 5.2 million bucks. And a little bit bigger check than we normally write. So John's here and Rudy's here and the chairman of the subcommittee is here, so why don't we?
Ready to go.
Let's do it. Article 32.
No, go ahead. Well, Article 32 is to secure funding in the amount of roughly 5.2 million to build a facility at the sewage treatment plant that will, to the best I can describe it, remove some of the water from the product that's left over from the treatment that we now bring to a landfill. Water is weight, and we pay based on the weight. So by removing this water, we will pay less to have it transported or taken away. The bottom line is this project will pay for itself over a period of 4 to 5 years. Am I correct?
Originally it was 4 to 5, it's like on a 9-year period.
9-year period?
Jumped
Okay.
up with the increases of different stuff that we've had to put on.
The sewer commissioners have discussed the funding function with our chief financial officer, and I believe the present policy is that we will borrow approximately $2 million if we need it. The initial step will be to take roughly $3 million out of the stabilization account, which we put away every year for this purpose.
Sewer stabilization.
The sewer stabilization account, right. I probably didn't do that justice, John, but
No, you
I
did.
think that's the sum and substance
Yeah.
of it. And if you will, Mr. Chairman, if I may digress for 1 minute, while they're here, if it's the pleasure of the board, we could also go over their budget while they're here in case there's any questions. It's up to you.
It's under 2%.
Yeah, their budget's fine.
Fine,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Just approved, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just accepted that budget, so we're good. All right, John, talk about getting the water out.
Yeah, right now, we take the sludge to Synagro, company takes it to Woonsocket. They have a incinerator there where they burn it and then put it onto a landfill. We work real hard just to get it at 3% solids. So it's 3% solids, rest is water. We're, with the new equipment and stuff, we can get it to 6% solids and maintain it at 6% real easy. The equipment will do it real easy. We did a pilot test and find out what piece of equipment we want for it and did all that studying for it.
What do you do with the water?
Goes back into the treatment plant.
Yeah, just,
Why don't we sell it to the guys down the street?
We do sell when they can.
That way we don't have to buy 300,000 gallons from Bellingham.
Well, we sell it to,
We don't sell it to them.
we sell it to A&P Enron or.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, the energy company, yep.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
buy it when they need to.
They buy it when they can. When the river's at a certain level, they can't purchase it from us. And they have to haul it in. But anyways,
There's a permit when they can and when they can't, depending on, like you said, river height.
Based on what? General law or?
5 feet per second flow on the river.
Flow.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked.
It's like trying to swim upstream, guys.
So we did a valuation and a pilot study on the different pieces of equipment to have so we could get the right equipment there. And that's why the increases come up on some of that is the equipment that we've had to get. We have to have, originally we thought we could do it with just one piece of equipment. We need two to do it. And also it's new buildings going in there, and where the building's going, it's gonna be cutting some grit lines and some other lines that go to the process in the old treatment plant, well, in the treatment plant now. And that equipment is 30 years old, so we figure while we're doing that, we'll upgrade that a piece of equipment. So that was another increase that, originally the budget was like about 1.5, we were figuring to do this. And that's where the other increase come, was to get that piece of equipment that's 30 years old, put it in this new building and get it working and do that. Also, another problem that we run across is odor. So the truck itself, when you load it up, you pump it into the truck and they open the top and the fumes come out of it. So we're gonna have that inside the building with hoods over it and put it through the carbon and remove the odor so we won't have odor on it. And we also have two thickeners where we thicken it, and that original treatment plant in '86 when it was done. And we're gonna put covers on them also and take the odor out of that, so, because that's right near, it gives you a lot of fumes and stuff for it. So we've had complaints with neighbors and stuff, so we're trying to make it a better product, so we don't have those type of complaints. Before, the original treatment plant was, no one was around them, but since then, Howard Street's been upgraded in all different areas, so we're conscientious of our neighbors and want to make sure that we do that, and so that's.
Some nice houses up on
Yeah.
Howard Street.
So those two things did increase the amount that we had to do. We had to make the building bigger so we could drive the truck inside it and keep it and clean it up, and the grit removal also. And like I said, we also, those thickeners that are going to, we're gonna have to rebuild them. They're 30 years old also, so we're gonna have to rebuild them, so that's an upgrade on those too.
Basically, we will eventually rebuild this facility and bring it up to modern days,
Yes.
if you will.
Yeah.
Over a period of time. And that was the objective when I got on this committee.
That's right.
20-something years ago, is to
Which was
start.
part of the enterprise fund.
Exactly. Done a
Organization.
great job of that. These guys have done it, you have done it.
Yeah.
You weren't on the committees.
No.
But,
I only have
that's
8 years to
important.
claim.
You want a motion, Mr. Chairman?
I'm open to anything.
Move favorable.
Any discussion?
You get discussion.
Yeah. We're gonna discuss it. Just have a motion. Now that we have a motion
can
accepted, we
discuss.
can discuss it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Still 5.2 million.
Anybody want to discuss it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Question, what's the lifespan on these equipment that we're purchasing? I mean, now we're up to 10 years for payback on it. I mean, is this a 20-year piece of equipment? Is it 30-year? What?
20, 30 years.
But we also have dual piece of, there's redundancy in there, so the way that the DEP and all the regulations work now is any new treatment plants always want redundancy. So both pieces of equipment won't be running at the same time, so if one goes down, one is there to do the job. So they're gonna probably alternate at some point, they're both not gonna be using, so that's gonna increase the life of the machinery. And then if one goes down, we can maintain it and just keep that process going.
So that was gonna lead into my other question, is that we're purchasing these now at the same time. Are they constantly gonna come up at the same time? Or by your process, are we gonna at least be able to,
Hopefully with a maintenance
tier
program.
these so we're
It's
not getting?
a opportunity of both will happen.
Right.
We'll run probably one at a time and we'll alternate them. Like, almost all the equipment we have down there, we run it and we alternate it, so it's always running.
What's the major cost or investment of the 5.2 million? How much of it is equipment, how much of it is building?
I think the equipment is, I wanna say $500,000 or something like that.
All the rest is building.
All the rest is building.
And there's a bunch of infrastructure
And-
work, obviously.
Building infrastructure work and tanks, gotta be refurnished, and then the odor system itself will be expensive.
Yeah, the carbon system isn't a cheap system. Originally, it was gonna be open, and now it's a self-contained building. Has to have, special windows, special electrical, everything because of the corrosive property, so it's a little different than an average household switch.
Yes, sir.
Al, you?
No, I can wait.
John, I just want to, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I just wanted to get a sense, what do we have in our stabilization account right now in terms of dollars? What is,
What's that, like 8.9?
It's like 6.3 million.
so it's 6.3, so,
In the stabilization, and then there's still a retained earnings that's
Of-
around 2 million.
wow, okay.
So it's up there.
I just wanted to give the committee some sense for that. The other thing, we're going to use 2 million of that to pay for this. What rate of interest, I know you kind of looked at the finances act, what rate of interest are we generating on that 2 million, and what do you think the market is?
So, right now, we have that in stabilization with Bartholomew. Chris has that invested, and our rate of return around 2-3%. Right now, that's,
Okay.
it's not anything significant.
2.5% is not bad, let me tell you.
It's not. We have to have it in safe investments. We can't go with
Right.
any aggressive plan to
Yeah.
stabilization. We need the money.
In
But
ter-
we had a meeting about 3 weeks ago with Chris and John, and we looked at all this. We looked at the stabilization balance of around 6 million. We also looked at the fact that it's a pretty healthy contingency. It's a 20%, John, approximately. So the tactic we're coming up with was somewhat similar to what we did with Godfrey Brook. So we're gonna take 3 million, so it's 5.2 million, knowing that it's a large contingency. We're gonna take 3 million or a little less than half out of the stabilization fund up front. We also know that this project is gonna take some time. So that 3 million will get us through the first year without any operating deficit in the fund, so we won't have any worries about having any impact on free cash. When we get through that first year, we should have a better idea of what the final cost would be. So at that time, we can either square up through stabilization or take out of retained earnings, one or the other, whichever makes sense, and really have no intentions whatsoever of actually bonding this project. And that may be a year from now, we may be looking at moving forward to rescind, depending on what's going on. Or if rates are still very favorable, it may make sense
Might
to
make
actually
sense.
bond.
Bond, okay.
That's the tactic we have right now, and that's my recommendation. I think that's the way to.
Yeah, that's great, thank you. Yeah, thanks, John.
Albert?
Quick question, just so we understand, 1.5 million, John, was what we started with.
Correct.
That was for,
That was for just putting the new pumps in there, the equipment to dewater it
okay,
and stuff like that there, and it wasn't the building that we're putting up. That was just using the existing building, rebuilding the tanks that are out there, and then putting new pumps and stuff on it.
so 3.7 is the new building?
New building, grit is new building, and grit removal, we're gonna have grit removal.
I don't know what that means.
Well, grit, when you have wastewater, you have sand and grit that's in your system, so you gotta take that out. Right now, it's being taken out, the equipment is 30 years old, and we're gonna have to cut those lines and do that right beside the building where it's taken out of. We're gonna put a new system in to do the grit removal part
How
of it.
much is grit removal?
The price, I don't have it off the top of my head.
I guess what I'd like to.
Grit removal and the odor control, and then upgrading those tanks and changing the tanks has brought it
I'd
up.
like to have, if the committee agrees for town meeting, is a breakdown. To say, right now, you're looking at 1.5 million, and somebody says 3.7 for a building? Holy moly.
Well, we'll
that's-
definitely have all those breakdowns at that time, I don't have them.
No, but could you give it to us so we
That's a good
include
point.
it?
That's a good point.
I want to include it in the
It's a good idea.
report
Fair
to
request.
town
Yep.
meeting.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
You just break it down to say,
Yep.
here's the 5 items, because otherwise, 3.7 million for a building, seems a bit excessive, and I know it's not
Three-car
true.
garage.
Huh?
Three-car garage.
3-car garage? Very
Oh,
big
it
garage.
it's building to do the process, and building to do two
John,
processes.
I'm not
yeah.
challenging.
No, I know that, I'm
Bobby's
saying,
gone
it is a
through-
good-sized building, it's not a small building.
But
And the truck
3.7 is a good size.
And the tractor trailer is gonna be parked inside that building.
Just, I think it would really help.
No, we'll have it all broken down at that.
If you, in the next week,
Yep, I could get it to you tomorrow, probably.
Perfect. Then I can include it.
Tater and Howard has it all broken down already,
Okay.
so.
No, that's good.
John, get it to Bob, and then you could put it up on here,
Fine, yeah.
and Al could get to it.
Yep.
Just one last thing before we vote. It's always been a question on this committee, what are the sewer department's plans for expanding the sewer system within the town of Milford? The subcommittee, in working with the sewer commissioners, has agreed to defer this to the fall, when our agendas are not quite so busy, that they will come in and spend some extra time with us and go through it, rather than try and address it in this time frame, this period of the year. Let's put it into the fall, and they're agreeable with that, so that request will be met.
Works for me.
Now, look at Al. Don't get too excited, Al.
You're gonna be disappointed in the fall.
Every year.
Your name was brought up.
Jeff?
Will this have any impact to the sewer use fee?
No.
No, none. Yeah, just
Why
as,
wouldn't it go down?
Why wouldn't it go down? Maybe 9 years it might. When we pay it off. We haven't had a rate increase in 8 years.
We're all members of that committee.
Not all of us.
Well, it's too bad.
that would have been.
Anything else? All right, we have a motion on the floor and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Favorable recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Have a
Rudy.
good night, Al.
Thank you, Jim.
Take care.
All right, I have Article 27 and 37. Those are school committee articles. Albert?
Yes, Article 27 is the $300,000 for the E-grant match that we built into the budget and talked about in the fall, and what we told the school committee was, we've agreed to the 300, because it could leverage itself to 900, but you're gonna have to go in front of town meeting to physically get approval to disperse the funds. This is what we went through, wiring, routers, doing, now that we have a good-sized pipe, we have to upgrade all the equipment to take advantage of it. But this is no different from what we had agreed to in the fall.
But the E-rate is only for infrastructures, not for equipment.
Not necessarily, not
No,
necessarily.
Aldo, my understanding is that was the first one. This one includes, and if anybody wants it, I have the spend list electronically that I'd be happy to send you. But it talks about Cisco routers and
Yeah,
all
you
the
can buy
bits.
routers, you can buy
Yeah.
switches, you can buy anything that's gonna get the product to you.
Right. Then that's the 300,000 leverage, and they said it may be less depending on the bids. But yeah, you're right, it's not for PCs,
Exactly.
tablets, but it
Strictly-
is for
it's strictly
hardware.
for the pipeline.
The first one was the pipe. This is for the hardware to let us
Yeah, you
use the
can
pipe.
pay for your annual fees for
And the good news is, when we asked, they're hoping like heck to have it in place by January 17.
That's good.
January 17th.
Yeah, 6 months. Which, when you think of the high schools, you
Pretty
know, all
done.
these,
Yeah,
it's
it's
aggressive.
And I think it's also a good point that everyone, that every single school in the district will be top-notch, wired routers, that's every school. So the oncoming Woodland School, as well as the high school, Brookside, Memorial, and Stacy, every single school.
And the reason I'm asking Al to go through it is, that all of these things were vetted by the capital subcommittee. Okay? And since we don't have the membership here, and I asked them not to attend, that, if anybody else wants to jump in, that'd be great. So, I need a motion on Article 27.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor of a favorable recommendation? Thank you. Article 37.
This one we went through, and I'm gonna ask the FinCom to consider a little bit out of the ordinary. There's an elevator in Stacy that last year started going on the fritz. They cannot get control system parts anymore. It is sort of working, but it did trap a staff member.
For 3 hours.
For 3 hours, a staff member was trapped in the elevator. So it's gotten worse, and it's a little worrisome that it could happen. Now,
Is there an issue here?
no, Bobby, here's the issue. They want to get moving on it, because it's going to take at least a month once they have the parts. So what I'm going to ask the FinCom to consider is that we go favorable on this article. It could be up to 100,000, could be 80, could be up to 100. But if it did get voted down for whatever reason, that we would use our emergency fund, because once they go forward, Kathy can cover it temporarily. The school district can cover the 100 grand, but they don't have 100 grand that they can.
You have no
forego.
choice on this. The
Aldo,
elevator has to work.
But he's just saying that in case town meeting votes it down,
Well, if they
we will,
vote
we
it
will,
down,
we
we
will
still
commit
have
to
to
back
fix
it
it.
up.
Yes.
No, you're exactly right.
Aldo, that's my point exactly, but the only way we would have is we have our $100,000 emergency fund. We would have to use that to backfill.
Well, they have $123,000 in change left in their maintenance fund for the rest of this fiscal year. So, you know, obviously, if town meeting doesn't cover it, whatever they have left, we'll cover the rest.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I have one
Won't be
question.
the full thing.
Yeah, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
In my view, we have a serious safety concern there.
Absolutely.
Life and limb are at stake. Why are we waiting until a town meeting to repair something like that?
Bobby, I guess I wasn't clear. If we agreed to what Mark and Aldo said, they would order the parts tomorrow and start the repair the day the school shuts down.
If they didn't have money, excuse me, Mike, if they didn't have money to cover that, why wouldn't they come to us for an emergency transfer?
Because it wasn't bad enough, and it just hadn't passed inspection.
We trapped somebody for 3 hours,
No,
Mark?
that's just recent. That was just recently,
How recent?
last month, I believe. The problem was,
I guess I'm overreacting.
no, you're not.
I don't think you
You're
are.
absolutely not.
Not at all.
We've had discussions on this elevator for 6 months. It's not gotten to the point where it was an emergency in their eyes.
Do we wait for that?
Well, they were willing to wait for it, and we were willing to wait for it.
Mr. Chairman,
We talked about it in the fall.
the one thing I would say is, will it pass inspection?
No, it didn't.
Then we've got
Hold
to
on.
fix it
That's the
today.
point.
Hold
Because we
on.
don't have an
We
elevator.
asked when the inspection was set. It's supposed to be the beginning of June. If it fails, we get fined, but that was not germane to our conversation. We were worried if this elevator is a risk,
Which it is,
we better move on it tomorrow.
right.
Right.
So that's why I'm asking. Things like, if you're worried that in the old days when people would say it's a safety problem, we had a question about a playground that they want to put in their budget as a safety problem. I looked at Tremblay, Dr. Tremblay, and I said, will you tear it down tomorrow if it's a safety issue? And they said, no, because we tore it down this week. I said, fine. So I think they're shooting straight with us, I really do.
Yeah.
And what Aldo and Mark is saying is, one way or another, we gotta fix it.
I guess what I'm questioning now is the delay.
Don't know why.
Well, I think the one thing that came out in the meeting today, Bobby, is that they can't fix it while there's people in the building. They actually have
Because
to,
it takes a month to shut down.
you have to shut it down, and they may have
That's why they
to.
want to do it in the summer. That was the whole point. of it.
They're actually rebuilding the elevator. It's like a new
Are
elevator.
we allowing people to use it?
That's not up to us.
We shouldn't be allowing people to use it.
They're using it, I mean, I think you have to allow the use for, because it's the only elevator. So you have to allow the use. It is currently
But
working.
gentlemen and ladies, that's not up to us. What's up to us is, are we going to fund it?
Yes.
Regardless of town meeting approval or not. And our answer obviously needs to be yes.
Yes, yeah.
So I'll take a motion for a favorable recommendation with the back draft saying that if it doesn't get passed at town meeting,
We'll
we'll
support it.
figure out a way to fund it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Bill, go ahead.
Just a quick comment. I can't imagine that town meeting would vote this down for
Me
some
either,
reason.
but-
I understand Al's trying to paint the
They
worst
need,
case.
they wanted the
wanna order the
guarantee.
part.
They wanted the guarantee
I
from
understand, they
us.
wanted the, I get
Not a
that.
That's why.
Just as a general comment, I
Okay.
can't imagine that
Phil,
happening.
the concern was, they're not supposed to commit the town
Yeah.
unless they know they have funding. Without the FinCom saying, if by some miracle, town meeting didn't fund it, we will, they can't order the parts.
Yeah. No,
So that's the only.
I'm with you, I'm just wondering.
All right.
Guaranteed funding.
Okay, we're good. Let's move on. We did vote on it.
If it's a safety
Oh,
issue.
we have to vote.
Oh, we didn't vote?
No.
Oh,
We
I'm
did a motion
sorry.
in a second, but
I thought we did. All in favor?
No, we didn't vote.
Favorable motion.
Opposed? It's favorable vote.
We're gonna go through.
Okay. With the understanding, God forbid, town meeting doesn't pass it, we'll cover it.
Yep.
All right, so highway surveyor, there's 4 articles from the highway surveyor, I wish he was here.
No, that's Al.
I think we went through them.
You got all 4 of them?
Yep.
I don't know, let me look at,
You do.
let's go one by each.
19,
Okay, give me 1 second to catch up.
19.
and 8.
Oh, yes.
You got them? Boy.
19 is Louisa Lake Rehab and Maintenance,
Damn.
the dam. Originally, it had been estimated that we would spend $600,000 to rehab the dam. Scotty got people in, Milford resident engineers, and what he thinks he can do right now is he needs 150 this year. And that'll be good for 2 or 3 years, and maybe another 150. So by approving his plan, we're taking 600 anticipated down to 200 to 300.
He's using many of his people that handle that.
We're gonna do the work, but he also got a resident to give him perspective on how to develop an approach that took it from 600 down to, he's saying maximum 300, it could go as low as 150 now and 50 in a year or two, and be 200.
Favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor? Article 24,
Hold on.
You're my man.
125,000 for the EPA stormwater permit. I think this is the last one, right?
This is the last.
This is the last of the mapping
Yeah.
to complete the project. They described it to us, this is no choice.
I didn't think it was.
And we do it every year,
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is the final one.
This is the final one of what we know today,
Move
but
favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Article 28, 150 plus thousand
this is the surprise,
stormwater treatment wetland.
because this is a retaining area that has to be created on Dilla Street. We were told that there could be a mandate to do this and a grant available last January, but nobody was sure. Apparently, it came in the beginning of this year, and we have till May 1st to approve money, which would be 25% on our side, and so it's 75% match on the state side. Now, May 1st had us concerned, but Scotty said they talked to the granting authority, and if we approve it at town meeting, we still get the grant. So it's for 25% of the total cost
500
for a
and change.
319 whatever it is, 319 grant.
And what's it for again, please?
Yeah,
It's a retaining area,
Retention.
yeah.
retention pond.
Al, can you go over the numbers again? It looks
Looks
like
like
we're
it's half.
asking,
Looks like it's
we're
50%.
asking for 150 on a
Right.
project cost of 376?
No, project cost is 5 and change.
Right, that
Oh,
state's.
no, it's written wrong.
Huh?
The match is 376, we would pay
Okay.
150.
Okay.
Say that.
Total 500 and change.
No, I just wanted, it wasn't clear.
No, it's written wrong.
Or is it still 150?
150 for us, 75, 25.
Yeah, okay.
Need a motion.
Move.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
This Mill Bridge.
Okay, moving right along. Article 26, police
No,
chief.
29.
29.
Oh, I'm sorry, 29.
Article 29 is for $50,000, which is our share of the Fisk Mill Bridge repair. Now, understand, this is a $1 million project, we think. The Fisk Mill, by Nipmuc Rod and Gun?
Yeah, sure.
That little bridge is gonna be $1 million. Upton pays half, we pay half. Now, we asked Scotty,
Good luck with
are
that.
we gonna put up any money before Upton has it approved? He said no. So it's not gonna be that we put up money and they don't. So as soon as they bring up their 50 grand, we put in our 50 grand and we do the engineering study. Within a year, he's coming back for $500,000, he thinks today. He won't know the exact number. But I don't want anybody thinking it's 100 grand to fix the bridge. It's 100 grand to do the engineering study that tells us if it's $1 million to fix the bridge, and we pay half.
Does everybody know this bridge?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
How big is it? It's almost the size of this thing.
Really? It's about
Mark,
the
you
size
can't
of the
shut
table.
Fisk Mill.
I
Yeah,
didn't
just-
say anything.
Yeah.
You were thinking it.
I like that
But,
little
but I don't
bridge.
think,
We've already seen it.
we won't spend any money until we know that there's money in the bank.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you were
From the
worried
other
about
side.
5 million for a sludge treatment plant and everything.
Right.
We'll build half the bridge and.
Yeah.
No, that was our concern. If we put in our half, do we stop halfway?
Halfway.
No.
All right, I'm not going there because I
It's
get.
a single lane, Mike.
Single lane bridge is even better.
I get beat up on the radio every time I talk about putting a toll booth or a
No.
barrier up on that.
Gates.
I need a-
How about a ferry?
All right, next.
Move favorable, Mr.
Oh, yeah,
Chairman.
the transponder thing up above
Any
it.
discussion? All in favor? All right, now we're back to the police chief. Article 26. Albert.
No, sir. This is the civil service that
Oh.
had nothing to do with us.
I thought the police chief was gonna.
No.
You want to talk about it? We're gonna pass it over?
Oh, that's a civil
Okay,
service?
thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Article 31.
This is last year, isn't it, on 31?
It should be.
Yeah.
25K?
Yeah,
Right,
on
that's for
that
the-
one, that is we really don't have a choice. We approved a program of 100 grand. We
This is the
paid
last
75.
We talked about that.
Okay, why are we doing it now and not in the fall?
But that will, okay, we're not. The chief agreed to pass it over because we've always used the criteria of an emergency or special circumstance for the spring. We asked the chief if it was either, he said absolutely not. Since we approved a payment for this year in October, the chief has agreed to pass it over, knowing that it's number one on our hit parade for the fall.
For 25,000, why don't we just take care of business now?
That
and
was
be
kind of
done with
Bobby,
it?
Yeah,
the
that was
problem
the
is
methodology.
candidly, we turned away almost $400,000 because it wasn't an emergency and it wasn't special. The minute we open that door to capital in the spring, I think that Pandora's box
We go
should
back
stay
to where we
closed.
used to be.
Yeah.
We don't want to go back to
that's a
where we
good
were.
point.
Mr. Chairman, we talked about that at the subcommittee meeting.
Right.
And he put it on basically just to close the books on it, but with no issue of passing it over.
Yeah, and candidly, I don't know why we would take money out of our kitty and give it to a vendor 6 months or 9 months early. There's no advantage.
I think it's precedent, and that's the biggest issue right now. I mean, we'll do it if we have to, and we've done that, but we don't have to, and we're not
All
gonna.
right.
Yeah,
All right.
no, that's good, that's good.
Okay, that's the agenda for tonight.
Mark, there's more police. There's 2 more police, or 1 more police.
Did we get a motion on 31?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Did we vote on
26 and 31.
He's gonna pass it over.
Pass it over.
Mark,
Yeah, that's a civil service, he's gonna.
No.
general government, the file's up on the drive.
Oh, the steps are there, so
31
Where's
is
the
civil
steps?
service.
I thought we were,
there's the steps.
31 is civil service,
I know,
passing it
but he's
over.
asking which one the steps are.
which one is the steps?
31's the computer.
Is that,
Steps. Oh, that's under the selectmen.
Okay.
That selectmen presented that article. Tomorrow night.
Repair the
we
front
went
steps.
through it with the police chief because it's the
That's
police
fine, you
station.
should, but it's a selectmen's article.
Okay, we can wait till tomorrow because lights
Right.
and,
Right, tomorrow.
okay.
It's under Board of Selectmen.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
that general government file is up on the drive.
Okay, we have time?
No.
Sure we do.
We're getting tired, Jerry.
That's,
We have a bunch of articles tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll be up in room 14.
I want to go over that general
14,
government.
really?
I may not be
Yeah.
here tomorrow night.
Well, there's a meeting here tomorrow night. Zoning board.
It's gonna be crowded as hell.
I know.
How about up on the top, upstairs, way up?
Huh?
I mean, town hall?
No, I think we need to go up to 14.
Yeah.
We're gonna squeeze in the 14?
We'll squeeze in.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow night, neither of these 2 other people.
Who's in here tomorrow
I
night?
think you're being unreasonable not to, it's up on the drive right now.
Okay. I don't want to be
Let's open it
unreasonable. I don't want to be unreasonable, Jerry.
Under Finance Committee, subcommittees.
Paul put it up.
It's in a folder.
Where is it?
Subcommittees, and then it's under general government.
Finance Committee, Subcommittee,
I didn't put it there, somebody else.
under General Government. Okay,
It's a subcommittee report.
got it. Got it.
You gotta look at that, and the other file also, where Zach put all these folders up. explaining the changes.
Yep, I have that, yeah.
You have that?
Yep, that's under, his folder.
Correct.
Yep, oh, this is perfect, great.
See it?
Yep.
The only areas in question are in red.
Okay, that's fine.
First one is the town accountant. The variance to target is $71,908. Anybody need any further explanation? There's just three people that can explain it, and I can explain it.
Yeah, we just talked about it. I just wanted to be clear what they're doing in the town accountant's office.
Go ahead.
Go
Let me
ahead,
take that
John.
one. Okay, so as I was mentioning earlier, I currently have an assistant town accountant, Wendell Phillips. He is currently paid out of General Government Department 148. He's been doing an excellent job, and I went to the selectmen to promote him to keep him around for a long time to town accountant now that I am finance director. Recommended step one. They approved that, we put it in the budget, so with doing that, I want to pull him out of 148, the position, and move it into mine. That's why at first glance, it seems like a ridiculous increase to salaries, however, the majority of that is already in existence, just removed from 148 and brought into 135. I'm sure that begs the question, why don't I see a decrease in 148? And we could cross that bridge right now, or when we get there. How do you want to handle that?
Tell us why there's no decrease in 148.
Yeah.
I think you need to see the overall
Why don't you
picture.
figure-
to make-
why don't
for
you
this
do
to make
finish
sense.
135 with the
That's-
increase?
that's what I
plus
mean.
your-
That's
plus
what I meant,
The
yep.
funding for your position.
Correct, so I also have a contract now as finance director.
Article on the warrant.
And there's an article on the warrant, so that obviously, if you're comparing budget to budget, you can't, because there's an article on the warrant, so.
Right, we'll talk about that tomorrow night.
Correct.
There's a footnote on each one of these variances, the red items down below. It says variance to target for promotion of assistant town accountant to town accountant plus funding for new CFE position.
Oh, yeah.
The next one is the treasurer position. This one is a variance to target of $16,032.
I guess I have a question about that.
Now,
Okay, you want to,
Mr.
that's
Chairman.
to fund the new position, correct?
Well, it's not a new position.
I make one more comment too.
Good.
So I want to make it clear that we will not be filling the position of assistant town accountant. It's absolutely not necessary to do so. This was meant to reward somebody that's been doing great work, highly intelligent, and this is the right move. But I will not be coming forward saying I need an assistant town accountant. Absolutely is not necessary.
But let's go back to the treasurer. This is not a new position.
No, the treasurer is not a new position. We split the treasurer's department from the treasurer's department, and then we have the benefits department, but it's all in the one budget. We did add a new clerk. She came in at step one, but she'll have a step increase to step two towards the end of FY17. We also have the 2% cost of living adjustments for 5 people in that amount, and then in my personal contract, I have an education stipend.
What's 2%?
For the
It's a union position.
Union COLA increase.
Okay, so it may in fact change,
Yes.
depending on the personnel services, personnel board's recommendation.
I'm glad you mentioned that. If that goes through, most people's budgets
Everybody's
will.
department will
So
change.
we would have to be coming back in October to really rectify the increase.
Well, we're not
or
gonna,
decrease.
we're not gonna approve the budget until May. Our meeting in May. By that time, we should have all these numbers worked out, I would say.
Well, it depends if it passes or not.
Correct. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
they're going up, competing at the same time, so.
Right,
know,
I understand. If
yeah.
it doesn't pass,
Yeah.
we have both, we'll have both budgets to look at. We'll know what the numbers are before our meeting in May. Because, well, I'm not sure, maybe the selectmen won't vote on it, I don't know. But we certainly will. And
We will know the numbers, yes.
We'll know the numbers.
Correct.
All right.
Are we okay with the treasurer?
Yep.
Tax collector's position is a multiple step increase of
Tax collector's
several positions.
Clerk's positions, correct.
Someone got 2 steps in the same year?
No, they will be stepping within that year, and obviously the increase of the union. So it's the similar situation to what Mike was presenting with the library. There's a step increase that may be 3% in between the steps plus COLA, so.
What union is this?
Mace.
Mace Union.
Yes.
That
Well,
was a contract?
they're renamed now,
That
but,
was a little bit unusual, but it is what it is, and
correct.
take it at face value and move on.
And if you look at their general expenses, I think she increased them $50, so.
We understand about the
The elections are.
town clerk, that's okay.
No,
The
the
last
elec-
one is what?
The elections.
No, we're good about that.
No, the
I think we're
election-
good about that. We all know
Town
that
clerk
that's-
actually has seen a decrease of 18,000, positive variance,
Did you get this? I can't get
because of a change, because she had a change in position. She got a new
in there.
person hired in a different level, right?
I think two.
Two
clerks.
Yeah.
hired,
Subcommittees.
So they started at step one.
Can't get
Correct.
back to the
Yes,
homepage.
you're right.
So that was a very positive move. And it comes down to the total general government is 181,000 or 4.5% with the noted adjustments above.
Okay.
Jeff, what did we have for workers' comp when we did our, you'll be quicker to find it than me.
I have it, 412,000.
Because we had it, we went up 5. What was our
18.
assumption at the beginning of the year? Was it 5?
At the beginning of the year. I
Oh,
think
when
it-
we started, what is
I think
our
it was three-
assumption on our
I think it was,
P&L?
yeah, I think it was 5%.
Was it five?
Yes, it
Okay.
was. It was 5%,
Wait a
yes.
minute, actually, here's my
It went up
P&L.
9.8.
The reason for that, we have some very high cases going on right now, a number of them, as well as we had the annual audit conducted, and workers' comp is based on what your projected estimates are gonna be. Salaries keep going up, as you keep hearing, so.
The
it's just-
percentage of salary? Gross salary?
Yes, including overtime, so,
Town's gross salary?
yeah,
Whoa.
correct. And there's,
Claim history also.
the claim history's not good.
Also, it caused our mod to increase, so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had a nice year last year and not so much this year.
When something happens, you pay someone out, that comes back to us in subsequent years, so, I mean, seems like it's good to have insurance, but you know what happens there, you ultimately pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
What is this note, Cherry, about off-duty police clerk increase in hours from part-time to full-time? What clerk?
Zach tried to explain why there wasn't a significant decrease in 148, and that is because of the increase of Mr. Valani's 148 budget that includes the clerk from the police department.
What clerk from the police department?
That's what I
The
said
off-
too.
Gene.
No,
No,
there's
no,
also an off-duty clerk who's part of the union that is responsible for administrating the billing cycle of off-duty.
Off-duty,
Yeah, which if you look at the revolving fund is significantly over $1 million every year. There's a lot of, Donna Anderson. Donna Anderson,
Donnie Anderson,
Where's she work?
in the station,
yeah, the station.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
We bill for that, I think she's
Yeah,
isn't
so-
that part of the bill?
So any
Yes.
any outside vendors, we
Yeah.
apply a 3% surcharge,
Like
a
for
$3 surcharge, I'm sorry.
Ask the
So
question.
that money comes back.
Can I ask, why isn't that in the police budget? Why is it under
We
yours?
don't know yet.
It's the similar, same reason of 148. I have this argument with Mr. Abadanza every year.
Just because that's what we always do it? I hate
Well,
that
I think
answer.
if I had to give an actual response, when I have to do my reporting at the end of the year to the state, it is mandated that we do it in that manner. So, I
Fine,
don't
fine,
know.
Really?
Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
But now you're taking that person and making it a full-time person, which includes benefits, which
Correct.
wasn't there before. So it's a significant increase.
It's in Chief O'Loughlin's report, which is in your file.
correct.
All 28 pages.
It's 3
Yeah,
pages of
28
explanation.
is,
If you want to read it in infinite
Very
detail,
detailed.
Yes,
it's,
it is. I read it.
we chose not to print it out for paper for you. That's it, gentlemen. That's the general government budget.
Any
Well, thank you for
discussion?
putting it up, because seriously, it made it a lot easier.
Well, I didn't
You know what I
know-
mean? It just was a lot of details.
I put it up on the file, I just couldn't
I
get it
understand,
into
Jerry,
the
that's why,
file.
but it just is a lot of this and that, so I was good to be
That
able
was
to
good.
see it, so. thank you for
I
doing
would have,
that.
I would have printed it out and passed it out if I'd known I couldn't have gotten it
Not
out.
printing anything anymore.
I got it.
All right, any discussion on the general government budget?
Motion to approve favorably?
Second. Accept. favorably.
Accept, I know.
There you go.
Accept the budget. All in favor?
Accept.
Thank you.
You guys win this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Enjoy it.
I promise it's the final moves in my municipal finance department.
No, I don't believe that. Not for a minute.
Anybody record that?
You're writing that down.
Until the next one.
I got a YouTube video, I'm gonna play it back to you next
All
time.
right, that was good, gentlemen and ladies. Tomorrow night, we have,
Always
like I said,
forgets
we're
you,
up in
Joyce.
14. I wanna finish the rest of the warrant, most of which is not too difficult. I didn't, yeah. Most of it can be handled by the subcommittee. The selectmen will be here to talk about theirs, or Rick will. And, we should be done with the warrant by tomorrow. All things being equal, I think we're doing really well with the subcommittee. Makes a huge difference in the amount of time we spend on capital items.
Does everybody, if I could give you an update, a draft update?
What you should do, oh, you're talking about your,
I'm saying right now, you know, we prepare a report to town meeting?
Yeah.
It is now updated on everything we spoke of this evening. Would you like a copy to start editing and telling me if I missed it?
put it up on here.
Well, I was gonna say, I can't. I can send it to you, Mark.
You can put it up. You can't, nobody can edit it. You could put it up.
Actually, they can't put up, you know, when you put it down to just view only, I guess it doesn't
Yeah.
allow you.
No, Mark, I'll send it
But
to you.
I can put it up.
Yes.
All right, I'll put it up.
So if
Send it to
everybody
me.
wants it, I'll send it to Mark right now.
And I'll
That'd
put
be
it
good.
up.
Put it up.
Yeah,
Do it tomorrow when
He
we
could do
get
it too.
tomorrow. We'll have tomorrow.
Yeah,
everything.
we'll have it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, do it tomorrow, so we'll have it after that, with all of it.
Well, yeah, but some people may wanna look at it. I can do another one
All
tomorrow
right,
night.
one other thing, a couple of other things. Any old business? Any new business?
Well, not at 9 o'clock.
I know, but, you know, we're only a half hour late. I planned on 8:30 being out of here, so,
Me and Mike have been here since 5.
if you would, never mind. How'd this work out for you guys, first night?
I think we ought to acknowledge the work that Zach and his organization has done.
Right.
I mean, we've got some bumps in the road, but I think it's learning curves. From a transition standpoint, I think we've made much progress, and they deserve some acknowledgement. Absolutely.
I think so.
Thank you.
I agree. You know, this is really, it's a little bit difficult to maneuver. Once you figure it out, it's not that bad.
Not that bad, it's great.
I love it.
I do think we need pens with little, you know,
Yeah, I
soft
think
tips.
that, yeah, I don't
I
like
think
that.
that'll work better.
That's not quite the same.
And I'll talk to Andy about some of the other issues that I have. but-
Do that in the
All right, I'm good.
Move.
Adjourn.
All in favor? Have a good night, gentlemen.